Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming into another video. So, I'm sitting here thinking about a post I just saw. A Laker fan was just saying we better not get rid of Austin Reeves, and I 100% don't want to get rid of Austin Reeves. But here's what I understand, Laker fans. Here's the reality. If we're going to get rid of Russell Westbrook's contract, if you're on board with that as the most important thing for the franchise, then you got to understand if you're dealing with a GM like myself, I'm going to demand you give me Austin Reeves just because I know you don't want to lose him. I'm going to take him off your hands just because I know for a fact he can help my team just like he can help yours. And I would go as far as to say he's probably our most likely trade ask. Now, that doesn't mean that he's somebody that the Lakers are offering in anything. I haven't heard anything like that, and I hope to never hear anything like that. I think the Lakers should make him untouchable, but what I'm saying is making him untouchable might be the difference between having to hold on to Westbrook's contract and not. Now, I'm not saying that he would be enough to help us get rid of his contract either. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying I wouldn't even begin a conversation without Austin Reeves' name being involved in it if I'm another GM. Not even starting a conversation. The Lakers will be giving me Austin Reeves and the Lakers will be giving me Malik Monk. I'm just letting y'all know that right now. So y'all better hope the rest of the league's GMs don't think like me, but I'm snatching both of those very, very good, young, affordable players off of the Los Angeles Lakers team in order for them to begin a conversation about me taking Russell Westbrook's albatross of a contract. Just letting y'all know that. So that's the thing. That's the thing. If you're on the board with getting rid of Russell Westbrook, you have to understand it's going to take the entire team practically to get him off the team. That's the reality of it. It's probably just cheaper to keep him, to be completely honest with you guys. As bad as our team looks and as bad as he's played, if we have anything of value on this team right now that we like outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, we might as well get it in our minds that we'll have to part with it. We will have to. So that's just something that's really unfortunate. This is what happens though when you make decisions such as this, to where you take on a contract that literally the entire league's been trying to get rid of. And then you decide you don't want it either. It's like this is the one contract the Houston Rockets practically blew up their whole roster just to get rid of. They were doing things just to get rid of this thing. And then the Washington Wizards, I don't know how they must have felt when they got that phone call from the Lakers saying, hey, we want that contract. And then we're willing to give up reasonable assets to get it back. See, that's another thing that makes me look at the situation with disappointment because of what we gave up in order to receive a contract that nobody wanted. We gave up KCP and Montrezl Harrell and Kyle Kuzma. Now, granted, none of those pieces were pieces that I was in love with anyway, so I had no problem parting with those pieces. But the fact of the matter is, we turned those pieces into something that not only did we not want, but we would have a hard time getting rid of. It's hard. It's hard to say whose fault is what or how to approach this, but I think I can articulate my thought this way. Under normal circumstances, assuming that the GM has free hands to do exactly what it is that he wants to do, if my GM lands on doing something like that, I'm firing him. Now, the reason why I'm not saying fire Rob Pelinka is because I know Rob Pelinka is on LeBron's schedule. So if LeBron says, no, we're not doing this, then it doesn't get done. And from what I understand, Rob had a deal in place for Buddy Hield that would have cost a lot less that he was ready to pull the trigger on. And if the reports are true, Bron and his team said, nah, we ain't doing that. How about you bring in the Brody? And the rest is history. So if that story is the case, I don't blame Rob Pelinka, and that's why I haven't been blaming Rob Pelinka about this. But I think it's going to be, unfortunately, his mess to undo. He's going to have to clean that up. Even though it ain't his mess, he has to clean it. And that's going to be one of the the most important things of his young GM career, is undoing this, if allowed to. And that's the one thing that's what makes me feel uncomfortable about this Laker era. I can't hold people accountable, consciously accountable. I can't, in my right mind, knowing what I know, definitively hold the people who would be held accountable, because I don't think they have that freedom that we're talking about. I don't think they have them free hands. I don't think Frank Vogel has freedom right now to run stuff that makes sense to him. I don't think our GM has made a single move that he imagined over the last 2 years. And I don't think Jeannie Buss is really pushing the line either, because she's trying to be a good partner for LeBron James. LeBron James got us all dealing with this. And the sad thing is, it's still considered a good investment because of how much money and how important of a player he is. But I assure you, if he doesn't drag us to a championship this season, this was a failure. This was a failure. Not a failure because he didn't win the championship. It's a failure because of the overall tenure this has been over the last 3 years, having us win only one championship in 3 years. Having us, if this continues, only get out of the first round in that champion year. It's a chance we don't even get to the playoffs this year. And if we do get to the playoffs, I don't have us favorite beating anybody that we're set to play. Memphis, Golden State, Phoenix, we ain't beating none of those teams. Utah, how the hell are we going to stop Rudy Gobert? We go small ball. We're not getting out of the first round if we make the playoffs. This was a failure, y'all. I'm looking at Brandon Ingram hitting logo shots from way out at the buzzer. I'm seeing Kuzma going off for triple doubles and double doubles and big scoring, big rebounds. I'm looking over it. All these different players. Josh Hart is having a career year. All these young players that we gave up, they're all really, really, really good. And if we had them all right now, we'd be the best team in the Western Conference, in my opinion, or at least up there with Golden State and Phoenix. We mortgaged all of that, gave away all these young assets for one championship. Just one. And at some point in time, we got to be honest about where this is going from here. If y'all like the idea of playing small ball while LeBron James gets his 38-8, we're going to continue to lose, as we know. If we were to try to say some stuff like, oh, we give up on the LeBron James era, he takes $1 billion and a half with him. You know what I mean? And that's not a good business move for Jeannie. So it's all bad, man. It's all bad. You figure if we kept the kids and we didn't get a ring up to this point, we feel like we wasted the opportunity to get Anthony Davis and LeBron James. So it's no win in this situation. I just think we need to get to where we need to respect where we are and cut our losses. That's the best way to appreciate all of this. You don't say it was a mistake, and you certainly don't continue going forward with it. That's where I'm at, and that's where I've been for about a month. And it's like, you know, because I can't in my right mind hold people accountable, because I don't think any of them are responsible. Only person responsible is LeBron James. You know, and I'm not 100% holding him accountable, because what if that's not the case? Well, you know what I mean? What if all that's an illusion and he really is just kind of along for the ride, which doesn't seem likely at all. But like, can you in your right mind say you're certain? No, you can't be. So if you're sitting up here and analyzing the Lakers, you just point out what's wrong, and then you sit there and say, okay, I want to point my fingers at who? I don't know. Jeannie, at the end of the day, she's the owner, so it's like, if she wants to do this, we're doing this, but this ain't it. This is not it. You're giving away a lot of youth in an era where youth is king. You know what I mean? Look around. Who else is doing what we're doing? Is there a single team in the league that just mortgaged all of their kids to get old? That's not what anyone would want. The only team that wanted that was us. That's not something that you want. That's not a thing. It's just what we did to make Bron comfortable in his final years in this league, so he could be surrounded by his boys. And that's where we are. We're surrounded by his boys, and we suck. Period. That's what it is. He got his people, and then they lose together. So I don't know. And all this talk about, oh, Anthony Davis is gonna make everything come together. He's the true piece. It's all his fault because he's not playing well. Bullcrap. Anthony Davis is who he always been. This is who he's always been. Yeah, the numbers may have been up or down or whatever, but he's usually hurt, and that's who you need to believe who he's going to be. That's who you need to play him as in terms of somebody you expect to be hurt going forward. That's why I'm on board with trading him now. I don't want to see that through. I know what this looked like. I like AD. I appreciate AD. He came through, and now we in a space where we think he's gonna be heading in the wrong direction. That's it with AD and Russell Westbrook. I'm in agreement with everybody else. I'm in agreement with everybody. I think every Laker fan is on the same page as it pertains to Russell. I think he would be happier if he were relieved of this nightmare he's in, personally. I think he feels just as trapped in this situation as we feel. I think he would be happier if he was back in Washington, quite honestly. But there's no solution to this. It's not responsible for anybody to be giving back money, so he can't get out of this contract situation no different than we can. And that's another thing about this situation in sports. It just kind of it's just no solution for this. If a guy is on a contract and he's making buku kind of money that can't be moved and he hates his situation, he's just kind of stuck in it. Rich, he could, sleep on his pile of money, but that's about it. I would love for that dynamic to change because this is a situation that both parties are trapped. The player don't want to be in this situation. Ownership don't want to pay that contract. It would be wonderful if we come up with some magical way to just relieve ourselves of all of this. Or if the NBA maneuver themselves in such a way to where this can't happen. If nobody's happy, then there should be a way to just sever this process. So that's something I would love to see happen. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say, man. This ain't nothing very important. I just wanted to bring this to the forefront. We're all looking at Russell Westbrook struggle. We're all looking at a team struggle, and there's just no easy solution. There's no way to just turn something you don't want into something you do want without giving up something you want. That's not how this works. So if we want to get rid of Russell Westbrook, we may need to attach everything we appreciate on this team in order to do it. Malik Monk and Austin Reeves are included. Because to be honest with you, those are the only two players on this roster that I would want if I were a GM. THT, the jury's still out, and it's too early for the contract that he has, so the Lakers are stuck with him in theory unless they want to give back something that ain't worth having. That's what I think of THT's value at this point. He just doesn't have any. Somebody's going to want him, no doubt, but they're not going to want to give us anything for him. No. And so that's what it is. The rest of those older guys, the Melos and all those guys, you might be able to swing a move to get some cash or something like that for a guy like Carmelo Anthony. You might be able to swing, a scrub on the back of somebody's bench, but nobody's going to give you nothing for Melo. Not that you want to trade him anyway. We love Melo, but I'm saying, that's the type of same thing I'm talking about. Our players don't have the value. Wayne Ellington's not going to net you a second-round pick. He's not. Avery Bradley, we like Avery Bradley, but if we try to flip him, we can't get nothing for him. DJ is a negative asset. His contract's so bad, nobody, it's just like Westbrook. So, this is what I was saying, at the beginning of this season, I said, it's important that teams keep their books clean. You look at different teams that have cap issues, talk about Portland a lot. The Lakers need to, value that aspect of the game a lot. I understand you're the Lakers. You got to have superstar talent in place. You got the name change of the building, so it's important somebody be good or whatever during that process. But guess what? It backfired. Neither one of these teams any good. Crypto.com Arena, the year y'all came together, the Lakers and the Clippers were not in contention. So it just backfired. The whole thing backfired. If you would have left the kids in place, maybe we wouldn't have a championship, but you'd certainly have a better team. You'd have a lot more assets. You could build a championship team that's more sustainable than the one that we've built. Sustainability. Remember that? 3-peats, back-to-backs. Yeah, that's what we used to do. Now we give away sustainability for fluff. Basic fluff. And while LeBron James has earned the right to do this, with all due respect to him, nobody's earned the right to do this to us. Nobody has. Not the Lakers. You may be able to do this with another franchise. and it'd be cool. But the Lakers, you don't get to toy with the Laker franchise like that. You don't get to take the purple and gold and just kind of use it as my final stop to just bring all my buddies together, and if we suck, we suck. Who cares? Because we got to drink wine together. Like, you're playing with our franchise, and I don't appreciate it. I don't know if any other fans see it that way, but I do. I definitely do. And it's not something I like. So that's what I got to say, man. Free the Lakers. My name is BDL44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.